Hey everybody, welcome back to Midwest DBS. I have a updated gotenks deck profile for you guys. I know most of the deck's same and a lot of you guys seen the same deck, but I wanted to go over this build right now. I only changed 3 cards to update it. Currently, right now with gotenks, not games, but rounds, currently I'm 10-1 with this deck. So I've won 10 rounds and have only lost 1 out of 11. And just want to go over a couple things real quick and explain how to win and basically have success with this deck. So, Gotenks, everyone pretty much knows what the leader does. So, real quick, when it attacks, you draw a card. It can awaken normally at 4 or less life, or you can awaken early if you have a unison, 2 cost or less. And you can take your life down to you have 6 when you do that. So, you kind of, if you're above 6 life, you can draw some cards and awaken. It's a restand 1, draw 1. Then on the other side, when it attacks, it gets to draw a card and has a permanent. Your opponent's leader card can attack your battle cards. So you'll see with other cards why that's good. It also has activate main once per turn. You can pay a green, choose one of your opponent's unison cards and remove a marker from it. Or you can discard a green card from your hand and you get to bring in 2 ghost tokens into play in rest mode. And the ghost tokens are 15k power. Zero. It should be 0 combo. Yeah, 0 combo. So it gives you more swingers. So everyone knows the basics of it. So we play 4 Gokiel. It finds your fusion pieces, all of them. It comes into play. It finds a 6-drop. Then you can play a green, put that in your drop, and then find the fusion targets. So we play 4 of this because it acts as a Trunks and a Goten. And also, sometimes you can play these cards out without doing the fusion thing. We play Trunks Bonds of Friendship because the good thing is when you Union Fusion with these, it allows you to draw 2 and then also search the top 7 to find a 2-drop unison. So technically you can draw 4 that turn if you have your unison out. So really good. We also play 1 of these, just 1 more, just in case you're missing pieces. And that's the Goten. Like I said, I'm going to make this one quick. So now we're going to go into what we're confusion to. Of course, 4 Grim Reaper. And 1 of these. So at first I was playing 4 and 2. But over time, this card just seems to be way worse. And a lot of times ends up in the energy. Grim Reaper is the go-to. It has deflect. It has dual attack. When you do the Union Fusion, you automatically draw 2 cards and KO a card. Now, if you have your Unison out, you're going to draw 3. And then if you use that Trunks that I showed you earlier, you're also going to touch your top 7. So technically, it can just net you 4 cards in your hand that turn. So it's really good. And having deflect. Now, this one also has deflect. It doesn't have dual attack, but it has double strike. And it Union Fuses for 3, or you can technically EX evolve on top of this on some turns when you're really trying to push. And if your leader card is green, when this card is played, choose up to one of your opponent's unison cards. You can remove 2 markers from it, and then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and KO it. So this is very situational, but it still deserves 1 spot in the deck because there are times when I have used it and needed to use it. Sometimes I even just played it for 5. Sorry about, I just realized the lighting is kind of funky. Sorry about that. All right. Now we go into the main unison we're going to use. This one, you're going to want to, you drop on turn 2. You're going to want to drop it on turn 2. So you really want to mulligan for this. And the name of the game with gotenks that I found out is if you jam this turn 2 and you can protect it, you should not lose the game if you can get to that negative. And this deck now has even better ways to protect this unison. So you just jam it. You keep on plussing up 2, giving your guys revenge. So if they want to kill your Grim Reaper, they're going to have to sacrifice their card. And you can play out your pesky blockers, which now will have revenge. And their leader card can't swing at them because of your leader. So it's just good. And you just want to protect this till you get the -7. Because if your leader card is mono green, look at your opponent's life, and you just get to take 1 of their life and put it in their drop. and then you get to choose 3 random cards from their hand and discard them. So a lot of times, as the game flow goes, they're going to try to either A, ignore it if it gets too high. They'll ignore it to a certain point till they get to that lucky -7, but a lot of times, with the way this deck's built, they can't do anything about it. So if they go for your leader instead of him, that's even fine, because your deck can be very defensive. It can protect your leader well. A lot of times you awaken at 6, and you're going to sit at 6 life for a while. And, yeah. So that's what you do with that. Now, some good plays to do with this is a lot of ways I time it. This is why some people are playing Dark Broly Unison. Some people are playing Freezing Golden Malice Unison. You could play Cooler Unison if you wanted to. My preferred backup Unison is this. Because a lot of times what I'm doing, I'm getting my board built. I'm minusing this for 7. Ripping 3 cards from their hand. Critting their life. All in the same turn, I start swinging with my leader, my gotenks cards, putting cards back in their hand, and then a lot of times I'm just tapping 6 for this. And when I tap 6 for this, I'm immediately minusing 5 and ripping the cards that I just put back in their hand. I'm ripping back out of their hand, and I'm swinging with a 20k double strike crit. A lot of times that's just enough just to end the game. I really like these two paired up together, especially if you can ult them both in the same turn, which I have often. It's just insane. So now we're going to do what we do to protect our unisons. This is the simple one. Everyone knows about this one. When you have him into play, you get to play him for free. He's unique. You can only have one in play, but he has blocker. Tick him up. Give your guys revenge. You're just living the dream then. Now, the interesting new addition that I like is 3 of the Tapion. It just makes your deck more defensive, and it almost pretty much guarantees that if you drop this on turn 2, like there's several play lines. You can play Gokul turn 1 to get the, I'll just give you one for example. Gokul turn 1 to get your 6 drop. Drop this on turn 2. You're going to restand an energy, draw a card, awaken. You might take more cards off your life to get down to 6. If you're already at 6, it's fine. So now, if you have this in hand, you can play this for free. Tick up, give your boys revenge. Do this ability. Now, this will not have revenge because the way it works comes into play at the end of your turn. So, basically, you pay a green to pitch this, then it comes into play, and you draw a card. Now, at this point, you will be tapped out, but you're going to have 1 blocker with revenge, 1 blocker with not, and this guy's going to be at 4 counters. And if you happen to have dormant potential in your hand too, there's no way. And then, like I said, you're just living the dream. And this guy is also very good because he's a 15k blocker. So sometimes you can combo to save him, and he can be an attacker just because he's 15k. Other ways. Also in that turn, when you play your unison, if you have this in your hand, on top of the blockers, you're going to make it very hard on your opponent to kill your unison. So it's good counterplay, best in the game. Basically free if you have your unison for 2 or more markers, and it KOs anything 7 or less. Still more defensive. 3 Shocking Death Ball and 2 Dormant Potential Unleashed. You could go 3 Dormant Potential Unleashed, 2 Shocking Death Ball. These ratios change based off what I'm seeing in my shop. And at our shop, I mean, everyone plays like really competitive decks. There's like really no people playing like weird decks. I mean, all the top decks are there, like Broly Swap, Dark Broly, Vijay, more gotenks, Sin Shenron. I mean, yeah, everyone's playing good decks. And, but right now, some of the decks currently, I've noticed, because gotenks have been doing well, have been like 2 good swings. 2 really powerful good swings. So that's why I changed this ratio of this, because if your opponent's only going to do 2 crazy powerful good swings, this card's basically pointless at that point if that's all they're doing anyways. So I kind of just change up these ratios for that. I do play, generally I always will play the 3rd in the board. Next we're going to Cells Earth Destroying Kamehameha. Great card. 15k to do your battle cards or your leader, and random discard. The random discard can get your opponent. Now to grab some of those extra cards back, we run 2 Master Roshi in the main. You grab your Dormants, your Shockings, or your Cells Earth Destroying Kamehamehas. Next, we're running 3 Rebrand. Card's great in conjunction with the Unisons too. If you don't see that Vegeta Unison as a follow-up and ult them both in the same turn, a lot of times you can still ult that one. This is in your drop. Swing a couple times, pay 2, pitch the cards you just drew. So it's just really annoying. Now for super combos, I just want to show you, well, I got 3 in here, right? Well, 2 different ones, 4 altogether, obviously. But you can do a lot of different things. Ways to do it, you can play 2 Juro, 2 Defending Father Paragus, 1 Juro, 3 Defending Father Paragus. You could also do like a 2-2 split between Defending Father Paragus and the Android card that makes them put a card from their hand on the bottom of their deck. Just mess with the super combos. But I think generally you want to run 2 of these for sure and 2 of something else, just because a lot of times you are going to be coasting at 6 or 5 life. So these are not dead completely because they still get you 10k combo, but they will not draw you card, where these multicolor ones, regardless of your life total, will do something. So generally I recommend 2 of these and 2 of something else. You could run 2 Juro, you could run 2 Android 18, or you could run a Juro and Android 18. But the purpose of this is you can put cards like Rebrand, Dr. Juro can put cards like Rebrand and Master Roshi in your drop. So it gives you something to do if you're at a life total that's higher than 4. And then the Android one would also just be good because putting cards at the bottom opponent's deck on top of Cell Kamehamehas and the leader effect, not the leader, but the Unison effect, and Rebrands can be very annoying. Now, for a Unison of choice, we are actually playing this guy and not Cell Xeno. I know it sounds crazy, but I have played 3 out of those 10 rounds that I won and 1 round I lost. I've played against 3 other gotenks decks, and they're all running Cell Xeno. And if you're in a gotenks heavy field, I find this is better, because a lot of times you're just battling each other, KOing cards back and forth, and they're never able to sell Xeno because you each are just blowing each other's Grin Reapers with more Grin Reapers, essentially. So I found this to be better, because a lot of times when I'm playing the mirror, generally they're pitching their Cell Xeno to their leader effect to make 2 ghost tokens, because they realize at some point they're never going to get to the point where they can successor it out. And I've never had one successored out in the mirror against me. So I find this to be better, because you can just, for 1, it can be defensive. You can just pay 1 and blow up anything in combo step. And 2, you can just pay the 5 and get yourself a triple strike dual attacker to end a game. So some honorable mentions for the deck. I have seen some people playing, well, I don't know if I'll get it out. It's in my binder. But it's a new Draft Box 6 Gohan, where if your life is at 3 or less, I believe, you reduce the energy cost in your hand by 3, or if it's your life at 2 or less. I can't remember. It's one of the or. And I recommend that in your sideboard. I've seen some people putting it in the main, but I don't think it's necessary in the main, just because this deck is so good at protecting its life total, and that's what you're wanting to do. You protect your life, you protect your Unison, and you win that way. And I've had no problems winning that way. Now, I will say that new Gohan could be in your sideboard against some aggro matchups, especially like Red Broly. Red Broly is a really good deck, and it is favored against your deck, but there's certain play lines you can do to beat it. First of all, blockers are important. And now that you basically run the 2 blockers and the negates, after you drop that Unison, you can basically build a little wall. Now, they still are going to attack through and still deal you damage. That's when's a good time to board that other card, because Broly has to take its own life to be able to get at your life. And that card's good out of the sideboard for like a perfect crackback, basically. You can just spend 2 energy and get a 25k double striker that blows up something too. That's just a little something I wanted to throw out there. Oops, I said I was going to make it quick and we're already at 14 minutes. But anyways, that's the deck. Once again, if you like the decks that we're doing, like, comment, subscribe, and we got more coming for you. Thanks. Bye.